Hello, East Coast GRC, friends and supporters, a very good evening. Thank you for your support and engagement with us in the last 9 years. This has allowed us to care for you, care with you, and care for East Coast GRC and Singapore. We have made a deliberate effort to reach out to as many of you, to listen, to understand your concerns and aspirations. This range from matters that impact your lives from a day-to-day basis, to your aspirations for your family and for your environment around you. We have embarked and completed many upgrading projects to enhance and provide new ways for you to enjoy your home and neighborhood. 91% of eligible old blocks have undergone home improvement projects, from replacing old and leaking pipes to having toilets upgraded in your flat. Through the lift upgrading project, 97% of all blocks have or are undergoing upgrading with lifts to be installed to stop at every floor for the convenience of our residents, especially families, senior citizens, and those that are physically challenged. With your feedback, the Neighborhood Renewal Program allowed for the upgrading of common spaces in our community to provide facilities such as playgrounds, intergenerational parks, cycling paths, and jogging tracks. In our private estates, Lucky Heights and Limau are undergoing estate upgrading. Seabreeze Garden and Toh are in the planning stages, and Eastview Garden has completed estate upgrading in 2012. With the growing number of condominiums around Flora Estate, new bus services number 4 and 767 have been introduced to cater to the needs of residents living there. Bus number 20 was also introduced to enhance the connectivity for Simei residents, traveling to key transport nodes at Tampines and between Tampines and Changi Business Park. And this was the result of your feedback, your working with us, to work with our agencies to be able to provide you these facilities. The downtown MRT line, which will be completed by 2017, and plans for the Thomson East Coast Line will improve residents' commute time. In the last 4 years, we have invested $50 million in maintaining your homes, including re-roofing, rewiring, lift parts replacements, repairs and repainting. And why was this done? It was to ensure that our residents living in the public housing had safe and comfortable homes. We believe in not just taking care of today, but also providing for tomorrow. So with strong financial management, we have been able to invest a further $50 million for the next 5 years for repair and redecoration, lift replacement, water tanks and pump replacement, rewiring, re-roofing, and refuse flushing systems for our public housing. And this will come from our sinking fund. A home is also where you are assured that your loved ones are safe and well cared for. Today, 72 childcare centers and 38 kindergartens are in East Coast GRC, providing parents the peace of mind that their children are taken care of as they are at work. So as we prepare for an aging population, a new elder care center in Simei will begin operations by October this year. A new senior care center at the Bedok Integrated Complex was announced earlier in July and is scheduled to start operations in 2017. Caring for our community, however, is not just about the hardware. It has to be about the hardware. Singapore must continue to remain a home that provides us the opportunities that allow us to succeed and build a better life for our families. It must be one that is inclusive and supportive for us. Even when we face challenges at different points in our lives, we could have been diagnosed with a major illness, perhaps even lost our job. We could be a student who needs a second chance in our education system, or a mid-career professional that needs to reskill. We need to ensure that we have the support in place to help and to ensure that we keep the door to success always open for each and every one of us. 2 days ago, I received a very, very pleasant surprise. I had an email sent to me from Jean, and this is not her real name. Jean had come to see me 2 years ago, as she wanted to get a course for her choice in Polytechnic. But she faced multiple rejections because she had decided to leave a place in Polytechnic that she had because she took a course that she was not good in. She realized it, and she had a bad transcript because of that. But she decided that she would leave and try to go for a course that would make sense for her. Unfortunately, as I said, she faced many rejections. So she came to me, and after understanding what she wanted, I worked with the polytechnics to look at how best to support Jean in her aspirations. And Jean, too, didn't want to go for private education because she thought it would be a burden to her parents. So because she worked with us, and the Polytechnic and ourselves were able to find her a place doing a diploma course of her choice. But that's not the end of the story. That's not the end of the story. Let me tell you the good part. What's more important? And this really warms my heart. So I must tell you, when I read that email, Jean, and that's not her name, but if she's hearing me, I would say I was crying because she shared with me. She said this was a hard-earned opportunity, and therefore she worked really hard. Now, 2 years later, she shared with me in her own words, and I will quote this. She said, "I am glad to say, and I'm doing really well. I have a GPA of 4.0. I think those of you in Poly know what 4.0 means, right? And guess what? She is now in the top 10% of her cohort. The Polytechnic even granted me a scholarship and a position on the Director's Honours Roll. This is the Singapore. This is the Singapore that we must all build together. So whether we're talking about our education system, job opportunities, the quality of public services, affordable housing and home ownership, healthcare, or strengthening of our social networks, what is important is how these policies are able to empathize with the needs of Singaporeans and allow you to improve your lives. We must have this people-first, Singaporean-first approach so that we can focus on good policies. We must have the courage to listen to the ground, to hear our people, to engage in the right conversations. And when policies do not land as they are intended to, your voices matter. And we need to hear it. We need to hear it from you and then refine the policies. You got to work with us to refine those policies. And this is why in East Coast GRC, when Mr. Lim Swee said, we do things different, is because we have invested, because we believe in deep engagement with you. That's why we've invested in the long hours of dialogues, chit-chat, street parties, block parties, and little group conversations. You had also been very forthcoming and proactive with providing your feedback. So, for example, when East Point Mall was upgraded, the bank moved out. So you told me through the various house visits I did and when I bumped into you, and even in the last few days, how it impacted your everyday inconvenience or convenience. So I heard you, and so while it is a commercial matter between the bank and the mall, I decided that I should engage with the management of the mall and POSB to find a win-win solution. So I will tell you this. When I told all those stories and the feedback that you gave me, and I quoted many of you, especially all the aunties, when I quoted all of you, POSB believed me that they were a bank that you wanted to have back in East Point Mall. And East Point Mall, too, decided that they had to work with POSB to make this happen. So I will very happily tell you, guess what? Today in East Point Mall, you'll see the hoarding up. POSB is coming soon. So all that we have achieved, we did so together. We need you to continue to give us your trust, to build our Singapore together. We care at East Coast together. So vote for our future, vote for PAP. 亲爱的选民们，晚上好！我和我的团队，谢谢大家，让我们为你们服务。这几年来，我们有机会了解你们的需求，为你们争取福利。我们一起经历了不少，克服了不少，也成长了许多。因此，我们建立了深厚的合作关系。新加坡有今天的成就，是建国一代给了我们一个稳定的基础。 谢谢建国一代。接下来，我们要继续努力，打造一个让我们能骄傲的新加坡。我们要的新加坡是个更加包容和充满机会的社会。我们必须克服，对不起，我们必须确保新加坡还有无限的潜力。无论你在人生的哪一个阶段，面对什么挑战，都有发挥所长的机会，追求你的理想。为了创造一个属于大家的未来，请大家继续相信和支持人民行动党，请投我们一票，谢谢。